This is our second part of America is in Trouble. We continue to deep dive into the statistics that are giving a contradictory picture of the economy. But first, how can one of the wealthiest nations in the world have become like this? With a blowout jobs report just recently, there are more and more people online saying they don't believe the numbers.
Feeling like you're sending out hundreds of applications and hearing nothing back? It's not just you. Despite what economists said was a strong labor market earlier this year, many people are feeling frustrated and wondering why they can't land a job. With 9 million job openings, it sounds like it'd be easy, right? But here's the reality of why the job market is tougher than ever. Number one, misleading unemployment rate. It's often taken as a sign that the economy is strong, but this number can be deceiving. It doesn't count everyone, only the ones who are actively looking for work. Consider somebody who might be job hunting for months without success. They might take a break to avoid burnout, but the moment they stop actively searching, they're no longer counted as unemployed. They don't even show up in the stat. This gives a false sense of security in the job market, when in reality, many are still struggling. Number two, the rise of ghost jobs. These are job postings that companies put up even when they're not actually hiring. Sometimes it's to gather resumes for future hires, or worse, to give the impression externally that the company is still growing. For job seekers, this is incredibly frustrating because you're spending time applying for jobs that might not exist.
This lady has it right. She understands it. On October the 4th, 2024, the news headlines were that the US jobs report was a big beat. Some others called it the blowout jobs report, a massive gain of 254,000 jobs. We broke it down and we wrote it up on the 4th of October, 2024. But today, the 10th of October, 2024, we are getting this. US filings for jobless benefits jump to 258,000, which is the most in more than a year. Digging into that article, we see that the Labour Department reported Thursday, today, that applications for jobless claims jumped by 33,000 to 258,000 for the week of October the 3rd. That's the most since August 5th, 2023, and well above the 229,000 that the analysts were expecting. How can the jobs report be a big beat suggesting a strong economy, but job filings have gone up? Something isn't right. This does not add up. We're going to delve into this. If we go back to that Reuters article, and I'm not picking on Reuters because they do an excellent job, but remember, mainstream media gets a lot of things wrong. Even the central bankers get it wrong. Alan Greenspan admitted he was wrong about the economy right before the 2007-2008 GFC. He couldn't admit he was really wrong. He said he was sort of wrong. When people lose their homes, they don't sort of lose their homes, and they don't sort of lose their jobs. They 100% lose their jobs and their homes. There is no sort of. But it's as good as Greenspan was willing to admit in 2007. It's not even central bankers that get it wrong. Even the president of the USA gets it wrong. But can they be forgiven if the senior civil servants, the BLS, those collecting the statistics, give them the data that is wrong? This is what President Bush said. We begin this new year. America's business and entrepreneurs are creating new jobs every day. Workers are making more money. Their paychecks are going further. Consumers are confident. Investors are optimistic. Just today we learned that America's economy grew at an annual rate of 3.5% in the fourth quarter of 2006. That means our economy grew at 3.4% last year, which is up from 3.1% in 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, the state of our economy is strong. What year was this written? What year was that speech? 2007, right before the largest financial crashes of all time. A crash that we are actually still suffering the pain from today because of the swelling of quantitative easing. There's more to prove to you that the headlines can't be trusted. Bernanke, subprime mortgage woes won't seriously hurt the economy. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said Thursday he didn't believe the growing number of mortgage defaults would seriously harm the economy. Look at the date, May the 17th, 2007. They don't know. You have to delve into these numbers and trust the people that can delve deep into these stories. So going back to this article, blowout US employment report, and that one from Reuters says stronger hiring and low layoffs. Wait a minute. Here we have today, US filings for jobless benefits jumped to 258,000, the most in a year. How did we go from this on the 4th of October to this news on October the 10th? The fact is very few people actually read the jobs reports. This was the key to understanding the reports. The numbers were in private education and health services, leisure and hospitality, those bar jobs, and government, which are not the high-paying jobs that are necessary to keep an economy growing. And at the very bottom is the manufacturing, a slide of 7,000. This is showing the true picture. The headline grabs everybody's attention, but the devil is in the detail. This was not an amazing jobs report. Manufacturing would not be declining. In fact, manufacturing PMI at 47.2. September 2024 manufacturing ISM report on business. New orders and backlogs contracting. Production and employment contracting. Deliveries slowing. Exports and imports contracting. This is the real picture to what the American economy is currently suffering. But hey, it's not just America. Europe is suffering it, and China is in a really bad state. Let's move to something a little more independent here. The Challenger Grain Christmas report published October the 3rd, 2024. US-based employers announced 72,821 cuts in September. Doesn't sound like a low number of layoffs to us. As though it's a 4% decrease from the cuts announced the month prior, it's up a staggering 53% from the cuts announced in the same month of 2023. In the third quarter, companies announced plans to cut 175,000 jobs. That's a lot. It is up 19% from the same quarter of 2023. And Challenger Grain Christmas go on to say, layoff announcements have risen over the last year and job openings are flat. Seasonal employers seem optimistic about the holiday shopping season now. We'll see. That said, many of those who found themselves laid off this year from high-wage, high-skill roles, which is just what we were talking about in those previous slides, will not likely fill the seasonal positions. This is what it's all about. Indeed, the latest job openings and labour turnover survey, the JOLTS report from the BLS, showed jobs remained flat in August while hiring and quits fell. Why are quits falling? Quits fall because people are afraid to lose their job. Ignore these mainstream headlines. The devil is in the detail. This is not good. What are we headed towards? Could we be headed towards stagflation? Unemployment up, demand down. It seems to be going that way. Inflation up. Today's CPI number was above expectations. Food and shelter, the very things people need, are the ones where inflation is highest. Generally agreed, the main cause of stagflation is a major supply shock. Good job we haven't had any of those. However, The COVID-19 pandemic led to a lockdown and a halt in production following the surge of demand when restrictions were lifted. Then Russia invaded Ukraine. We have those supply shocks. Money was extremely cheap to borrow, which is why we keep going back to the 2008 quantitative easing, the flush of cheap money into the system, the supply shock through COVID. The supply shocks are still working their way through the system, which is why we could be facing stagflation.